G'day and welcome to A Down Under Yarn. I am your host Fiona, also known as Fifykins. If you find someone on the intertubes called Fifykins, it's probably me. Today is Wednesday the 13th of November 2013. And this is episode number 46. Show notes can be found at fifykins.com. I need to do some work on getting the Solar Flare Fibres website up and going. I am the dyer behind Solar Flare Fibres and, as I said, also Fifykins. Welcome, especially to new viewers and to returning viewers. Glad we can spend some time together. Yes, I'm wearing my Zombies Run t-shirt today. I'll go into Administratia first. So we have our Yazzie bag giveaway, the second one. That finishes, I'll be drawing for that next Wednesday when I record. So make sure you enter. All you need to do is say who you would like to gift a Yazzie bag to. And if you are the number drawn by the random number generator, then you will receive a bag for you and a bag for your friend. We also have our knit along going on at the moment, the Gunner. This is the year I'm gonna knit along. And some people have entered things already, which is fantastic. So, you know, if you set goals earlier on in the year and so, you know, I really want to do X, Y, Z. For me, I want to do a knit a Colour Me Pretty hat, which is a colour work hat, probably for my niece. And I have the yarn and everything. I actually don't have the needles. I'm waiting for some needles. I ordered some needles from China that I will hopefully be getting soon. Hopefully they will get here and I'll be able to cast on for that. It shouldn't take me too long, but it's something I've been wanting to do. I've also been wanting to do a colour affection. Really would like to get some time to do that. It's going until the end of the year. At the start of the year I set some goals for myself and I've met some of them I haven't, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But if you've got a project you've been wanting to get finished, now is a really good time to whip it out and get going on it. I think that's all I've got at the moment in Administratia. I do have a few Ravelry messages to read. I'm sorry I'm a bit behind. This probably leads into the week that was. It has been a challenging week for me. Don't really want to go into details, except last Wednesday evening there was an incident between myself and my kid's father that wasn't very pleasant. And it had a bit of a snowball effect from there. So it's been a lot of stuff to deal with. If you're on Plurk, you probably heard about it. If you want to ask me, you can ask me. I'm fine to talk about these things, but I just need to be careful about what I say here. Especially as I know that he watches, which is really great. So that sort of, that just put me in a bit of a funk. Plus the weather has suddenly gone hot here. We're hitting over 30 degrees every day, and there's my thermometer up there, which is about 90. We're hitting over 90 Fahrenheit almost every day. Humidity is up there. I don't know what it is at the moment. Yesterday when I took a reading about this time it was about 70%. We're not getting major showers overnight, but we're getting some, which is nice. I've been able to get some dyeing done, which is great. I've got all the Christmas yarns. They're almost ready to go off. They'll be in the post tomorrow, the ones that I've been dyeing up. So it's just been a tricky week. But when the temperature goes up, there's a phenomenon that in the tropics call either going tropo, people go tropo, or else it's called mango madness, and it coincides with the mango season, which has just started. And I think people don't sleep well at night in this weather, all that sort of stuff, and for me it's just been blur. So it has been a really, really, really rough week. And I've got some really good friends who've helped me through it, which I really thank them for. Anyway, I have had some nice things that have happened. I will get to that later on in both acquisitions and in spinning. But on Sunday we had the Cairns Leukemia Foundation run the Cairns Christmas Craft Fair each year. And as the Fibre Crafters group had a stall there, and as part of the stall we were doing demonstrations. So I was able to spin for quite a few hours, which was really quite nice. It was quite relaxing, ran to all sorts of people who didn't even know I spun, which was really quite funny. I've got the dog here nibbling on my toes, and I don't know why. I've just given her bones, and she doesn't seem to be wanting to get her bones. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. I was able to look around the stalls, caught up with some people I hadn't seen for a while. Yeah, so I've got people messaging me. I'm just going to switch my phone off. Okay, that's gone to silent now. So that was a bit of a fun day. Mimmel's been on leave, which has been really nice as well, being able to spend a little bit of extra time with him, although he's been getting a whole lot of stuff done, including his second 3D printer. He's now got one that prints ABS plastic and one that prints the other plastic. So there's two different types of plastics. He prints them. And he's been getting some really good stuff. Basically, he's been printing new printers for people. So if you print a whole lot of the components that put the things together, and then you only have to buy a couple of bits. And it's all sort of open source, and it's stuff, it's altruistic stuff that he really enjoys, which I really quite like too, that he gets so much pleasure out of it. He did spend some time, that's the other thing I need to show in acquisitions. So, I've got to remember that. What else? We had the school speech night last night, so I sat through 2.5 hours of that. Look, on the whole, it wasn't so bad. It was one of the better ones, but it's still 2.5 hours, and they do all the presentations, and the senior students all get their presentations, and hey, it's great. The band played, the orchestra played, the singing group sang. Imogen was involved in that, Jasper wasn't, so he sat with me and was bored. I was able to knit for a bit until I was concerned that I was going to be running out of yarn. But hey, it is what it is. It's once a year we get together as a school community like that. So yeah, there's a bug flying around. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah. Let's get into the crafting. I don't think this is going to be an overly long episode this week because I haven't actually done a lot. So as I was saying, speech night last night, I worked on Imogen's watermelon socks. This is still the first sock, but these are my large sock blockers, and you can see how much extra I have for a toe there. So they're basically a plain vanilla sock, but I used the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I showed last time, and this actually shows you the magic of it all. Just for me, just being fortunate that it just matched up beautifully on top and used one stripe for each half of the heel. Absolutely amazing. I got to this last night and I'm thinking I really should weigh my yarn because I'd hate to go on too much further and find that I'd used over 50% of the ball because I didn't weigh it out to begin with. And fortunately, I think I've got 60 grams left. I'm hoping to get down to having about 50-55 grams left. I'm not sure, I didn't weigh the ball to begin with, and I know it's from Yarn vs Zombies, and usually her balls are a couple of grams more. So I think if I get down to 50 grams, I will have left it too much. 55 is probably going to be a good, nice number to have a little bit of yarn left over. At the moment, I'm thinking if I do another 2 stripes and then perhaps some ribbing for a couple of stripes, should get it to the top of the sock blocker here, which is a pretty decent length sock, seeing she's got such a huge foot. And yeah, then get on to the second sock. But these have been sitting in my bag. Mima took me out for lunch today. We went to a cafe. When I came back, my knitting was sitting next to the car. I got my handbag out of the car and fallen in my bag. So I was just really, really fortunate that I didn't actually lose these. So as I said, this is Yarn vs Zombies. I actually can't remember which base it is. It's one of her self-striping yarns, and I'm pulling from the middle, so it's getting a bit collapsed on itself now. Beautiful, beautiful to knit with. Fantastic dye job. The colour transitions are just superb, as you always get with Kiki's self-striping yarn. So, as you can see, fantastic transitions. I mean, you can't tell where it transitions on the sock. And yeah, really, really good. It's the watermelon colourway. I've had so many people say to me, though, are they Christmas socks? And I suppose they look a bit Christmassy, but they're meant to look more watermelon-y, so the light's a bit blur. So, yeah, this one will definitely be finished this week, and I'll get onto the second sock for her to get that done. Now, I did say that's Yarn vs Zombies. I use 2.5mm needles. I'm using my Chow Goose with the curved ends. For most of the knitting it's fine because they're really blunt tips. For the heel I probably would have preferred a sharper tip. Really like the Chow-Goo needles though, and the cables are fantastic. And I also really like the bends because the way they fit in my hand. As I said when I was talking about the hat I'm going to knit, I ordered some some needles from China, the Chinese needles. So I ordered the sock needles that people have been talking about. They also had 16-inch, I think, hat needles anyway. So I ordered a set of those because I can never find hat needles. Plus, I've really only got a 5mm Knit Picks, Knit Pro, whatever it's called, hat needle. I do have a interchangeable. I think I've got a 3.75 and a 4mm, but I'm not sure where one of the sets of tips are. I think they're in a drawer inside. Apart from that, I've got really cheap needles that I hate because the stitches don't like going up on the. They don't like going from the cable onto the needle. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So yes, sorry, I am going proper here. The other project I have been working on is the Susanna IC Mystery Shawl. Now I'm almost at the end of clue 6. I was hoping to get that done for today, but just with this week I haven't done as much on this as I would have liked. The 7th clue is out. I think it's only 4 or 5 pattern rows, and then the final clue comes out on Saturday or Sunday, and that will be the last bit. I absolutely adore this pattern. This is just, it's such a joy to knit. It's one of those lace patterns where, I suppose up until now, it's been very intuitive. The pattern has just changed down the bottom. So this is how much I've done so far. So it's getting to be quite a size. Is that my centre point? Yes, it is. So you can see there is a stockinette bit to start. We added a bit of a spine in here, which is going to decrease in the 7th clue, and we've had the leaf motifs coming down. And they're sort of going into mini leaf motifs down the bottom here. Look, a couple of those will be a bit, they'll block out, I hope, because I dropped some stitches at some stage and had to pick them up, and it went back I don't know what I did, but it went back 2 rows, which included a knit 2 together and a knit 3 together. So I had to work it out. I think it looks okay now. You know, lace surgery late at night though is not the best idea. So anyway, put it this way, I had to buy 4 tubes of beads to have enough beads for the shawl. I haven't even finished my first tube, so there's a lot of beading to come. I know that. I am using my Solar Flare fibres. This is the Amaterasu base, which is a 80% merino, 20% silk. It's a lace weight. I'm doing the large shawl with maximum beadage, because there were different options, and this will be a shop sample for me. The beads I'm using I got from Rainbow Beads, which is an Australian online retailer. The yarn is a bit tealier than what is showing there, but the beads are probably showing fairly true to colour. The beads are probably more green than blue, whereas the tealy yarn is probably more blue than green. Anyway, I'm hopefully going to get some really nice photos of it. I'm not sure where, I'm not sure how once it's finished, but there we go. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this finished for next week's podcast. It would be really good if I did, because I've got the fantastic Knitting Blooms mystery that I'm behind on now, that I really want to get onto. So we'll see how we go. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself at the moment. Yeah, and knitting time, I mean, Wednesday evening, last week I expected to have a few hours knitting time and ended up being in other places. So there we go. I think I can now move. Oh, spinning. I have a bit of spinning to show you. Not a finished spinning, but I have a finished bobbin. So I don't think that can be classed as a hoe. This is the Into the World. This was a Club Fibre Superwash Merino, and it's the Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey colourway, which of course is a Doctor Who reference. And I'm trying to get the end of it out of the way because the end bit there is probably a bit there. As you can see, look, it's fairly thin, and for me it's probably the thinnest I've ever spun. It looks fairly consistent on the bobbin. but looks can be deceiving. I mean, yes, there's some thicker and thinner bits in there. I'm hoping I'm getting a decent yardage on it. It took me forever to spin, which makes me think, fingers crossed, I'm going to get a decent yardage. I would like to think it's going to be about a fingering weight yarn. And my hope is I get enough to do the amazing Kimberly shawl, the Farben Fro, which is the colourful shawl that she put out probably about 12 months ago, that I've had in my queue since then, really wanting to do. I've got some other colours I could do it in, but I just thought this would be quite fun to do that as well. So the other half, my spinning wheel's actually over at Newell's at the moment. I opened it up there the other evening, and because he has his air conditioning on inside a lot of the time, I was able to spin inside in the air conditioning. And out here at the moment it's so sticky that it doesn't really feel like spinning weather, whereas over there it can, seeing he's been on leave. So that's been quite nice. The other half is quite, I literally broke the braid in half, and being a superwash merino, it actually came down into almost pencil roving when I was able to separate it all out. So I just spun as it came, didn't look at which way the ends were going. Some ends started, there was one end that was predominantly red, the other end was predominantly blue. Some ends started with the red ends, some ends started with the blue end. So it's all over the place. The other half though doesn't have as much colour in it. It's mainly the blue, the sky blues there. This, of course, is the TARDIS floating through space, was the inspiration photo for this. So I literally only just started that the other night, and I've done one thing up the bobbin. I was showing Mimmel, I was showing him the woolly winder and said, you know, if I'm not getting a lump of coal for Christmas, that might be something nice. So, hey. I think we can probably move on to acquisitions. This is actually one of my acquisitions. This is from the craft fair. This is a mug from a local potter. I got one last year in blue and saw this one in green and really, really like it. I've got some green tea in there, some Lang Mei. It's a Chinese green tea and it's really, really nice, just refreshing. Even though it's warm, I don't mind drinking warm drinks. So that is one thing. The other one is something that Mimmel has been helping with. Just a tick. I am here. I left it over here before I forgot. So when I got my wheel, here I am, see? When I got my wheel, it didn't come with a Lazy Kate. I got a Sidekick, which doesn't have a built-in Lazy Kate. And Mimmel has been amazing and made me one. So he saw someone else's online, Briar's Rose Pickles from New Zealand. Saw that when I was in a VKN with her and decided to do one for me. So here it is. Sorry for the bump there. I just knocked it there. He says he's going to paint it. He's put all sorts of brackets everywhere. He's countersunk screws. He's still got scribblings there. He got these, I don't know where he got these from. He says he got them online. And he put little smiley faces on them, which is very cute. So they go beautifully into the bobbin. Bobbin spins around really lovely. He's thinking of perhaps doing a bit of a tensioner up over the top. The way he measured, he then thought, I can actually fit 5 bobbins on there. Even though I explained to him I probably wouldn't need that. And he goes, well, you can always use it for storage. And I said, yes, but I need to get 5 bobbins. So that was one of the things we talked about with getting a woolly winder. Anyway, so that is that, which is going to be probably a bit easier than using my shoebox one. And he even put a handle on top. So there we go. That is that. Colour suggestions for paint would be appreciated. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And it is really, really sturdy because he gets pretty anal about those sort of things. My other acquisitions were from the craft fair as well, from Sunday. I got a couple of knitted coat hangers for my mother for Christmas because she really, really appreciates them, and really soft in fun fur type stuff, but I know they'll be soft on clothes and that will be good. There was a lady selling shoe bags. Now, I said to her, oh, they look fantastic. She goes, yeah, they're great for storing shoes. And I said, actually, I'd probably store my knitting projects in them. And she said, oh, and she had some what she called shoe bags, which were twice the size of this one, but actually had a divider in the middle. And I didn't quite like that, and I saw this one and I really like the fabric. She said she picked it up in Port Moresby in PNG a few years ago, and she said often they bring in the most exquisite fabrics and do that there. So as you can see, it's a long narrow bag. It's not lined, but the seams are beautifully sewn, and it was cheap as chips. It really was. And I thought, I quite like that. So I got that, and one of the reasons I got that one was to store my spindle. The Fibre Crafters have a stall, and everything's under $5. And when we make things for the stall, we know that it's going to be sold under $5. So one of the ladies, her husband is a wood turner, and he wanted to make spindles, even though he knew that they would be sold for $5. So I got this for $5. It's quite heavy. I'm not sure what timber it is on the top. It spins nicely. I did try and spin it. There were a couple there that he'd made that he'd just been trying out. So yeah, so I haven't spun on this yet. He's actually turned it under there, which is probably more for having it perhaps that way if you wanted to spin that way. I will be spinning that way. The lady at the club who is really into bobbin spinning was quite excited about it, so there we go. So I can, if I get it right through there, that's what I wanted to do. So that was just me twirling it, but there we go. It's got a lot of spin in it, so looking forward to playing with that, and it fits really nicely into here. So I thought, there you go. That was my big purchase for the day. I was able to get a couple of things for the current club, which I knew they were going to be there. That was really good. They're going out with actually the final shipment. So, the other thing I got, we have some bobbin lace makers at the club, and again, this is going to be for my mum for Christmas, but a beautiful bobbin lace bookmark. And I've seen how they do the bobbin lace, and it's pretty amazing. And this is just really intricate, so she'll like that. But she still reads books and not digital books most of the time. I think that's all for the Fifi crafting bit of the podcast. I do have a little bit of shop news. For those people who don't want to stick around for shop news, that's fine. I'll say bye for now. For those people who are sticking around, very briefly, as I said, I'm up to date with the Christmas orders, bar one that is still drying at the moment. So the others I'm packaging up tonight to go out tomorrow morning. Some have already been packaged up actually. I didn't print out the mailing labels. Anyway, I'm sorry, it's just been a really, really week. So if you hear squeaking, by the way, Jasper's down on the trampoline. That's what that is. What else? Oh yeah, so the holiday colourways. I thought over the next couple of weeks I would dye some up to put in the shop and reduce the number of pre-order spots that are there, because it's getting quite close to people wanting to knit for the holidays. The things that are going up in the shop this week will not actually be skeins of yarn, but I'm putting gift vouchers in the shop. So the way they will work is you will buy a gift voucher, and I was going to do an electronic download, but I can't actually number the electronic downloads individually, so you will buy a gift voucher. I will email you a copy of the gift voucher. When you want to spend, and you can let me know if you want it made out to anyone or if you want a message on there or anything like that. When you want to spend the gift voucher, there are two options. One, you go through the shop and there'll be instructions on how to do that. The other option is you contact me and say, hey, I really like such and such colourway. Can I please have a couple of skeins of that? And I will, or whatever. So the gift vouchers will be $30, $60 and $100. I think I worked it out at. I haven't fully decided yet, and I haven't done the artwork for them yet. So once I've done that, they will be up. So that would be a great idea to show to your other halves. See, I'm just going to slowly move that way because the sun is coming around. Great idea for your other halves if you're not sure what to be given for Christmas, or for the holidays, or for anything. I've had a couple of people inquire already. One couple of people's significant others have already been on to me, which is where I got the idea from. So they will be going up on Friday, and I will then email you the instructions and also a something that you can print out as well. If you don't have access to a printer, just let me know and I'll put something in the post. It won't be, no, that's fine, not a problem. I think that's about it. There will be more in the shop next week. I've got some old colourway favourites coming back, and of course I'm going to have some holiday colourways up for sale. When I was dyeing the holiday colourways, dyeing on the Stellina yarn, I thought I really need to get some of those dyed up so that I can show people because they look fantastic. And yeah, so I think that is about it. So until next week, I'm going to say uru, cheers, bye.